Welcome back everyone. So it's nice to be back. This is week 3 of the Cartoon and Caricature sessions. Now for week 3 we've chosen to do Dua Lipa. Just to recap on the pictures we've done so far. So we've done on week 1, we've done Ariana Grande, and week 2 was Harry Styles. Harry Styles, lovely picture, a lot more intense, a lot more colours. And Dua Lipa, well, this is another great subject to do. So just to recap on the materials, we've got a pencil, pens, my Sharpies, and the rubber and the watercolours. So I'm sticking to those simple materials for the sessions, so you should have them in your resupplies. I promised I would talk about the makeup and how to sort of think about composing your picture. So in this case, what we're going to do is we're going to talk about eyes. We have talked about hairstyles and head shapes. So eyes. So eyes are really important, folks, especially when you want to sort of inject a wee bit of fun into your piece. So let's look at some expression in your eyes. So big eyes. Cross eyes, creates a confused effect. Your eyelids as well help. Wee crow's feet. So if somebody's laughing, everybody talks about the crow's feet and older people being at the side of the face, but actually when you're laughing out loud, LOL, you've got those crow's feet. You can actually add wee lines. Now, other shapes, big manga eyes. Try to keep your eyes symmetrical, but I suppose in some cases our faces are, or in a lot of cases our faces aren't symmetrical, so it doesn't matter too much if they're different sizes. So it's all about the pupils in manga eyes, and it's like the yin and yang symbol. Almost like cat's eyes. It's good to actually sometimes sketch out eyes before you go to draw a full piece. Just play about, create an expression. It's really important in your eyebrows as well, because you can change the expression in a face with eyebrows. So that's the anger eyes. Goofy eyes. It's all about the big eyelids, isn't it? Just seeing the pupil down at the bottom. So you've got the big upper eyelid and then your lower eyelid as well. A wee tear duct. Your eyebrows again. have fun drawing your eyes. Think of all the different expressions. It's sort of a leaf shape, isn't it? It's more traditional eye, isn't it? Think of the shine. Highlight. Big long eyelashes. All these different components are really important to practice on. Because when it comes to actually doing your picture, you'll have all your tools at your disposal to sort of really make your pictures so much more expressive. Let's see, one more to fill the page. These ones are good. The droopy eyes. So the upper eyelid's actually beginning to come over. The actual eye itself, this is where you've probably had the expression crow's feet. Somebody that's a wee bit older, give them big bushy eyebrows. Maybe give them a monobrow. And that's us with the eyes, all the different expressions that you can get by just varying the different type of eye. Have fun, as I say. Spend a wee bit of time just practicing. I know a lot of my classes, the guys that come along to my classes, they love just sort of practicing, especially the teens. They'll just sit and just practice. And it's good to sort of see people thinking. It's not all about creating this big grand masterpiece. So we're going to start off the sketch for Dua Lipa. Probably one of the most popular female British artists just now. You see her in quite a lot of different programmes. I actually watched her in a programme over the weekend there, and she had this big fancy dress on. So I'm actually going to do something a wee bit different. I know I've got her head shot there, but I'm going to do something a wee bit different with this, because it was quite comical, the dress that she had on. So I'm going to start off with a big shape, as always, and the big shape will be her dress that she was wearing in this show. So I'll do two wee hands. And then we'll do her face. Now her face is, I'll probably keep her face the same, but just adding in this dress. I'm going to have even more fun with it, actually, because what I'm going to do I'm going to turn this dress into a wee monster. So sometimes when you're drawing your cartoons and your caricatures, it's not so much about getting a likeness, it's about the gag. So let's go back to the face. Spending more time in drawing, less time pausing, just continuing. I'll have a wee glitter ball there, I think. We'll have the backing singers as well. So again, just sketching quick shapes. That was just the quick ovals. And then just a rounded rectangular shape for the bodies. And then just 2 lines, your stick people. And we can add more detail into these in a second. Right. Big high cheekbones. Now I'm just going to check, look straight on. It's always important to look straight on at your picture. It's got a wee button nose. Big full lips. Big high cheekbones, as I was saying. I'll need to sort of trim there. Now we'll do some faces on the backing singers. And we'll do a different type of face. That was the round eyes. Let's do big manga eyes. I should have a big round face actually. Pee-wee Herman. Famous comic that I used to love from America, Mad. Bit like, I suppose, their American equivalent of Private Eye, Viz, maybe? Aye, more like Viz, probably. Wee crop tops. Wee belly piercings. And the final character, oh, I know what we could do. It was actually this guy's show that she was on. See if you recognise him. I'm doing this from memory. Nah. Always try and have a source photograph. It's actually got, that's probably a bit better. There we go, a fun cartoon. In fact, we'll have a big stage light, eh? Right, that's us. So we've sketched out Dua Lipa and a resetting, creating more of a sort of cartoon. So let's just go back in with a line. Crisping up the lines with the Sharpie pen. Oh, that went off, that one. Ah! You won't notice it. Get the back of your ear. So I'm just going to continue to draw. Might not have as much commentary as because you know this process by now. So I'll just continue to draw. And you will see it coming alive. I got away with that side of the cheek, I think, or side of a jaw. So I don't have to redraw it. A great artist always disguises his mistakes by calling them happy accidents sometimes. So that was a wee happy accident. In fact, you know what I'll do is I'll do a wee feet popping out the bottom. Bare feet. Enjoy your picture. Have a wee cackle to yourself, a wee laugh. Just one wee commentary I would say is just remember, folks, it's not a case of going on over all your lines. What's really important is that you leave some of the lines for your smaller pen. along here. We'll do our lips with a thicker Sharpie. Right, go on with a thinner pen. So what we've been doing is we've been adding more detail into the pictures as we've been going on, making more of a story. So I mentioned that at the start, that it's always good to sort of think about the theme and think about the story in your picture, because that sometimes is what it's all about when you're doing especially cartoons. Just get back to drawing. Just keep adding in the detail. Wee hands popping out of costume. And then the backing singers, and then that'll be us. We'll be ready to paint. So you can see the face is still quite similar to the original sketch, so we're using that as reference. The manga eyes, so the sort of yin and yang symbol. Wee button nose and then the lips. Wee belly button, a wee piercing. Do my glitter ball. And we'll do a wee star, so. To show that it's shining. And that's us. I'll go on to rub all the guidelines out in the next stage. Right, so I'm just going to rub it out. Rub out all the guidelines. Make the picture a lot clearer, cleaner. So as I say, you can sort of really start to see the pictures pop, okay? So there we are. That's us. Right, this one, I'm going to do something a wee bit different when I'm colouring in. So I'm going to use dry brushing, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with the background. So I'm just using Payne's Grey to sort of fill in the background. And what I love about watercolours, I love this sort of marbling effect that you get. So don't worry if it's not just one continuous colour, like what you see in your houses with your walls and your ceiling. You can play about with the colour, get that sort of marbling effect going, which I love to see in the watercolours. You can see already there's some areas which are darker, some areas that are lighter. So just keep it going, dibby dab, using this dry brush technique. Leave a wee bit of light round the stage light. Coming down. Let's get some more Payne's Grey. As we come down to the bottom, I want to make it a lot darker. It's underneath her dress or a wee monster. It's really dark. So again, dabbing the colour on. We've got a great roadmap, we've got a great picture, so it's all about colouring in. And the more expressive you are with your mark making or your painting technique, I think it makes it more interesting. Try and leave some of the areas around the picture exposed, especially if it's an illustration or a cartoon for a newspaper or a magazine. You don't need to sort of completely fill it. It's not like a picture that you would be doing for hanging on the wall, like a sort of traditional piece, like a sort of fine art piece. It's, as I said, I keep saying it's more a sort of illustration. It's going really dark underneath there, that's better, that's nice, I like that. So that's your shadow. And I'll just keep painting, folks. No real pauses. I will give an explanation. I will give commentary as I'm going. But I think we're getting an idea of how to sort of compose and develop your picture. I think I really want to sort of talk more about now the story, the gag. There we go. We should really leave that to rest a wee while. Okay, so we've done the background, just in the Payne's grey, going from sort of lighter shades of light. Just going from lighter shades up at the top down to the darker shades at the bottom here. So next thing is we're going to use a wet and wet technique for the dress. So just going in, painting around the shape of the dress with the water. Always keep your water clean. My water's just getting a wee bit dirty, but it's going to be okay for this demonstration. It's actually maybe better because you can actually see what I mean by just painting with the water. So I'll just go right round, and you can see that I'm leaving some of the areas, just like in previous demonstrations, leaving some of the areas dry, taking the water right up to our wee hands. Around the wee monster's face. Because really it's not a dress, it's a wee monster that's covering the character, Dua. There we go. Right, so picking up some random colours. I think I'll start off with the yellow. Just quickly getting that in while it's still wet. Bringing in some red. Try and get it a wee bit more intense. It's quite dry up there already. So obviously because of the lights, get a wee bit more yellow. Purple. Just spot that colour in. There's some marks here where I've made the line, so it could be sort of shadow lines. And a wee sparkly dress. Bringing in some of the blue. Even some green, so it's like all the colours from the rainbow. So as we go down to the bottom, sort of follow that rule that it's darker. See how the colours are flowing into each other, really nice. Get a wee bit more yellow. Just where the monster's head is. Make it a wee bit darker around there. Remember these lines for the shading. Really nice intense blue down at the bottom. It was just a silver dress that she had on, but what we can do is we can inject our own bit of humour in, and it was reflecting a lot of the lights and the colours that were in the stage. So I've chosen to make it more multicolour. You don't need to go too intense with the colour just now, because we can come back in, as you've seen in the other demonstrations, and add a wee bit more colour. So the next thing, I want to go and get my flesh tone, my peach colour, and we'll start filling the faces. So you'll see it's more a sort of controlled method now. In fact, I might even step down a brush size to a smaller brush. So you place the colour, still in the darker areas. And it's a more painterly technique, it's a more measured mark that you're making. And then what we do is clean your brush, and then you pull that colour into the white. So see how where I've placed the colour initially? And then I'm just going back in. Remember to leave some highlights as well, just some white areas. So I'm leaving some white areas where the cheekbone is. So again, I'll do that again, just underneath her neck. So much different, isn't it, from the methods that we've been using so far? This is maybe familiar territory for a lot of people, where they're taking a more measured approach. So you choose your technique to suit what you're trying to create. Still leaving some areas. Now clean my brush, and then just pull that colour down into the lighter area. Working while the paint's still wet. Don't let it dry, because it becomes a wee bit trickier pulling the colour. But if your paint's still wet, you should find it quite straightforward. So just underneath her hairline, going in with the paint, clean my brush again. And pulling that colour down. Get a wee bit more colour. It looks a bit too intense, so what we do while it's still wet, just lift some of it off. You can still lift while it's still wet. A wee bit trickier again when it's dry. So just lifting off some of that pigment. There we go. So the two backing singers, now we'll do Jonathan. And don't be shouting at the television saying that doesn't look anything like Jonathan. Please remember, I didn't have a reference photograph. Always make sure that you do. I just made it up out of my head. I think it's alright. So using the same technique, so placing the colour on, and then what we'll do is we'll just pull that colour maybe a wee bit more underneath his eyes. A wee bit more underneath his nose. Oh, it's too wet. Always think about, before you start painting or putting any marks on your paper, if you feel it's not going to be right, don't just go with it. Always just check. That goes with the same if you're doing oils or acrylics. Right, we'll do Dua. So just underneath her neck. Might be a wee bit more obvious to see this technique when we're doing the bigger face. She's got the biggest face in the illustration. Of course it should be the biggest face. It's all about her. And get her chest in. Get her wee feet actually, that's the same colour. Disco ball, go back to a bigger brush. Again, what we'll do is we'll actually just do those that multicolour rainbow effect. So wet on wet. Deliberately leaving the hair just now. And all the characters. Think about how you're going to build up the picture. It's best not to sort of paint next to a wet area. So I'm just moving across the page. Like that. Just going a wee bit darker down there. Do what's right for the illustration as well. If you've got a nice mix that you've found, use it in the other parts of your picture. I think what we'll need to do is we need to finish off with the purple down the bottom there. Now I'm going to start working on their hair. So I'm going to do an unnatural colour, I suppose. Well, maybe a natural colour in some cases. So I'm doing purple here, and we'll do this one red. So just blocking in. Again, don't just do one single colour. Try and sort of get, I'm repeating this point, the marbling effect. So you're varying the intensity of your colour, which creates interest in your picture. It's patchy. It's deliberately patchy though. As I say, if you were doing your walls or if you hired somebody to come in and do your walls and it was all patchy, you would say, look, I want a refund, that's not what I was asking for. But in this case, you're creating a piece of art, so it's all right to have it patchy. Red for the other singer. Do the lips. Now when you're doing a more painterly technique, you really need to have more paint, less water, so probably about 80% paint, 20% water. I think we're just going to leave it like that, and then what we'll do is we'll clean the brush. And what we'll do is we'll clean the brush, and then we'll pull it across, creating a wee sort of highlight. There we go. And give them cheeks, make them rosy cheeks. I think what we'll do is we'll just make the tops white. It's always quite nice to sort of just leave the colour of the paper sort of shining through. So I think that white, if we were to colour that, it would just become too intense. I might change my mind actually, but we'll leave it there just now and we'll work on Jonathan. And then we'll do his suit. Probably just for his suit, I'm going to just use the Payne's Grey and a wee bit of brown. So what I'm doing is I'm just going back in underneath his collar there, just making it a bit darker, and then we'll go in underneath his jacket on his trousers. There we go. Now get the stage lamp. There we go. I like that, so I think what we'll do is I'll put a wee bit of shading in the costumes, the girls' costumes. Right, now we're here. Dry brushing this time. Then we'll get the back of it here. That brown. I don't know, a wee bit of yellow. Start to develop this face a wee bit further as well. Check my colour mix. Sometimes have a wee, well always actually, have a wee bit of paper just to one side so you can test your colour before you apply it to the canvas or the paper. So just developing the shading in our face, giving it more volume. Grab a wee bit of red. eyeshadow. Now we've talked about how to do our lips. Just more pigment, more colour. Wee kiss. Jonathan's been a lucky man, he's got a wee kiss on the side of his face. Just go back in over your initial washes and just develop the shadows. And then you're giving your picture more volume. Go back in to the wee costume, developing these shadows again. See how that shadow's dried really quite light underneath, so just fill it in a wee bit. And I think that's us, folks. I'll just do a recap on what we've done today. Now, at the start, we sketched it out. We were following this illustration here. You can see that the face is quite similar, but I wanted to do something a wee bit more comical, more of a story, more of a theme, and that's what you should be developing in your pictures as well. It's not just about creating just a likeness and a single face. This is more about a setting that I'd seen over the weekend on the TV. So there's Jonathan Ross on the right hand side here, and she came on stage with this big flouncy dress. So here's my interpretation of it. It's even got a wee monster. It's not actually the dress, it's the monster. It's I've just noticed I haven't coloured in the hands, but she's got white gloves on in this case. So anyway, we sketched out the piece, and then we went in with the liner, and then once we'd done the liner, we went and done all the different washes. Just going back to the characters, we've got two of the backing singers in the back. She looks as if she's got her lines wrong, so she's looking a bit cross, and then she just looks as if she doesn't know what's happening at all. But that's all. That's what you want to create in your piece. You want to create a bit of humour and a wee bit of comedy. So there we go, folks. Now in week 4 we have Lewis Capaldi coming up, so looking forward to that one. One of the Scottish great singers just now, so we'll get that one done next week for you. So thank you, see you again.